Welcome to the Lethal Dispatch. Join Lethal Ted and Lethal Eddie to discuss all things tabletop role-playing, featuring me, Torin Grimblade, your invincible, powerful, lethal, but somehow modest spokesman for lethal fantasy games. Please hit the like, subscribe, and ring that bell. Join us on Instagram, Facebook, X, and Discord. Do it now, or I will destroy you. What? Oops, could you pretty please just subscribe? Hey, Eddie, I told you I could do it nicely. I'm a born diplomat. These mortals love me. Anyway, let's get started. Take it away, guys.
Welcome back, everyone. This is Lethal Ted. We're here running lethal fantasy demonstrations on our Foundry system. We've added some things for this demonstration from the last one, which was a one-on-one between Abigail, who's part of this demonstration as well, and an Orc Chief. This time, our players are greater in number, and they're represented by actual players. They'll be dealing with a group of monsters that have invaded a village, and they're here to free the village and destroy the monsters. I, Lethal Ted, will be playing all the monsters, as well as Xian, a magic user, and I'm going to be playing the magic user so I can show you on the screens that are displayed that you can see how that magic opposed roll and saving throw system works and how they work through the casting time, damage, and saving throws, and then work through lethargy. I'm joined by 3 other players and asked them to introduce themselves.
This is Lethal Eddie, and I'm going to be playing Dorn Redhammer, the Dwarven Shield Fighter.
Nice.
I'm Abby, and I'm going to be playing the half-orc fighter, Abigail.
I'm Grace. I'm going to be playing Mara, who's a mankind fighter.
Awesome. So one of the things that we have to do, especially in this system, which we didn't do last time, is talk about how our initiative system works a little bit and how movement operates. First of all, we need to get everyone into combat, and we have, if you see over here on the right side of the screen, a combat manager. And so what's going to happen is we're going to have everybody join the combat. The way they do that is by right-clicking on their token, and then there is a, and I'll show you here using Xian, they right-click, and then there is this shield and cross swords. You click on that, and that adds you to the combat manager, so that you see the initiative dice shows up to the right. So far we got Mara, Dorn, and Xian added. We need Abigail to right-click and join the combat matrix. There she is. So she is in. These numbers here indicate the hit points that are active. You can see Abigail, the half-orc, has the most. Mara has 40, Dorn 38. These are all third-level players. Xian, who's a magic user, only has 24. You can see there's some controls over here. One of them is the ability to ping whatever player or monster you're looking at. Now, to join the monsters, I'm going to circle them all up, right-click on one of them, and then I'll add them all together. Now, our initiative system works a little bit different. In most games, you roll initiative, and then you create this static initiative order that makes everyone wait their turn. Really, what our initiative does is determine if there is a delay between the time the combat begins and the time the players or monsters are aware of that situation. And as you can see, I'm going to start it off by clicking on the initiative for Xian, and it asks me a dialogue box, which is, what is her situation? Is she sleeping, totally distracted, awake, unsuspected, or declared ready on alert? Here, this is a confrontation that everyone is well aware of, so she is ready on alert, and you'll see that she comes up ready on second one. So all of the players, go ahead and roll, guys. You click on your dice, and you are ready on alert, and all of them will be coming up with a 1 because they are ready for this fight. You can see all the players have now got their 1. Now I'm going to do the same thing For the monsters, because they are equally ready, one of the reasons we don't need initiative order is our system that allows for progression rolls every second is looking for that opportunity to attack. And that system, in and of itself, deals with initiative and who goes next. And because we aren't doing static initiative, anyone may go next. And in fact, someone could go twice in a row, 3 times in a row, 4 times in a row. The odds are against that because it's a progression roll with ever increasing chances, but it's not impossible, which means a player cannot start playing with their phone or turn their back or say, I know I got 6 or 7 people ahead of me, I can go run off and get snacks. All those things keep them engaged at the table so that they are not doing those things and combat does not become this sort of endless slog. So you can see combat has not started. I'm going to go ahead and begin combat now. The Foundry dice comes up on Mara, but that is just because she managed to be the first one to roll, so she gets the dice on her. But we don't actually run in turns. One of the things the players get to decide, because we're going to start off with movement, and the way that works is it's how far can you move in a second. The players will be either starting with a walk or jog. Walk is 5 feet and a jog is 10 feet. Each square on here is 5 feet, so they can either move 1 or 2 squares to start the combat. They could accelerate after that if they chose, moving up to a run or sprint, which would allow them to run 15 or to run 15 or to sprint 25. So those things accelerate as they get through seconds. But the biggest thing they get to do is the players get to choose whether the monsters go first and they react or they go first and the monsters react. And have you guys decided who's going to be going first, monsters or you guys?
We'll let the monsters go first.
A wise choice, I think, and what most players have been choosing in our play test. So since they get to move, we're going to have to progress this. And you can see down here, we progress at 1 second. You're going to see a bunch of dice get rolled. And what those are is the combat opportunities that you saw in our last demo for the monsters. Those numbers come up to tell the monsters and the game master rather the monsters will have an attack opportunity during that second of movement. Now, in order for that to be realized, they're going to have to not only have the dice roll, but they're going to have to be within range of the players. Now, you can see there's quite a distance between them. Rather, they can close the distance in time to take advantage of a rolled attack will be up to them. The other interesting thing is because those opportunities will be apparent as the movement occurs. In Foundry, the players can actually move according to that kind of an opportunity to decide if they're going to move close if that kind of attack has been rolled. Anyway, I'm going to go ahead and progress it to second 1. You'll see those dice start rolling out. You'll also see here that Xi'an gets to decide what to do. Now, she could attack with a Mystical War Mage, which she would have to decide later if she's going to do that. But actually, Xi'an's going to start casting Acid Lance. You can see it has a casting time of 4 and a lethargy dice of D6, which we'll talk about later. But she's going to select that. She's in second 1 of 4. And now you're seeing all the dice come up for the monsters. To see if they would actually have an attack opportunity. This cuts down on all of the paperwork and record keeping for the game master because it's already determined. Now, the only one of them that got an attack opportunity is potentially the Hobgoblin. So if this Hobgoblin can reach a range where they are next to one of the player characters, they will get an attack opportunity this second. If they do not, that attack opportunity will be squandered. So with that, I'm going to move all of the monsters up 1 so that the players can then react. So I've moved forward. All of you can move 1 square. Xi'an is actually going to move up 1. She can walk and cast. So now, because we're dealing with a jog, the monsters will move 1 more. Now the goblin, smaller of stature, is only moving 5, but the orc soldier, the orc grunt are going to move. The Hobgoblin is going to move up, clearly not going to get in range, and the Orc Chief will be moving sort of behind the Hobgoblin. Now, the players get to react and make their second half of the move if they're jogging. See, the players are moving up in reaction. Xian could only walk, so she can't move any further. The Hobgoblin's attack, which shows over here, is now squandered because did not reach range. So we will be progressing to second 2. You can see the seconds referenced up here. So we're progressing to second 2. Xian is continuing to wait. Her casting time is now 2 of 4. And the dice are rolling again for the monsters. You see the Orc Grunt has an opportunity if they reach range. And that is all. So only the Orc Grunt would have an opportunity, and that is this monster right here. So I am moving first. The Orc Grunt with bloodlust in his eye is moving forward to Mara, and they continue to move in an aggressive manner, but staying at a jog and under control. Now that we've moved, the players can move their first 5 feet. And the other thing is at any time, and Xian will move one forward, the players can decide to abort something, meaning even if they said they're at a jog and they move 5 feet and they see the monsters are getting closer, or they broke into a run or a sprint, the players are not beholden to continue moving forward. They can decide to stop or even turn and go the other direction. This is why it's so much different than the way a turn-based action works, where they would have had already decided probably to move 30 feet up and wouldn't be able to adjust as things occur dynamically on the battlefield. Now, they've moved 5, so my monsters continue to move forward, and they do take advantage moving forward. Now, here's where that part about knowing, especially in the Foundry system, which is a little bit different than the way the dice roll system works, just because of the way movement works. But as you see, the Orc Grunt is 5 feet away from Mara. Now, she's going to get to go second, but there is an attack opportunity here for this monster. So if Mara chooses to move in, good news is she will get a progression roll. Bad news is she already knows that Orc Grunt is going to get to take a shot at her. So you guys go ahead and move, and the same with Abigail. If you move close to that grunt, it will have an opportunity. So see, Abby is adjusting to that reaction, is actually moving toward the soldiers. That's right, Abby, right? Now, Mara, having a lot of chutzpah and deciding to go ahead and take that on, has moved in and is possibly going to face that attack. So all of them who are now engaged can roll their progression rolls. And did you guys do that?
We did, and I didn't get an opportunity.
Me as well.
So
So question here, since I didn't get one, can I move back?
No, because you've already moved your 10 feet, so you're there. And now the monster, because you moved in range, you can see up here his monster attack that he rolled for, and I've moved over the top of the players, but now I'm going to make my attack roll on Mara, who bravely moved in, and now we're going to find out if that was a wise decision. So we have a 15 to hit, and you can see here that all of our modifiers are handed with dice, so there's nothing static. Did roll a 1 on the D30. If she had rolled accordingly, or if the monster had rolled low, could have been a fumble, but that didn't happen because they got a 15 on their attack roll. So I now choose who to attack. The Orc Grunt can only attack Mara, so Mara will be sent a request to roll defense. You see that, Mara, coming up? And there is her defense roll.
nice roll.
So Mara has rolled a 19, and the Orc Grunt had only rolled a 15 to attack. So Mara has parried that attack. So her move up to sustain that attack was well thought out and obviously paid off. Because now, even though she didn't get an opportunity, her progression roll next second will have moved up to where she has a twice as likely a chance to hit as she did on the first second. So it actually does help her. Now, everyone has reached range with the exception of the monsters back here. So progression rolls will be happening. We'll be moving to second 3. You can see Xian is waiting casting time again. And you're seeing all the rolls come up for the monsters. And the hobgoblin, again, is the only one that can attack. But he is back here, so he may or may not reach range. So now that all the rolls have come through, the monsters will move first. Now the soldier is happy because he's engaged. And guys, if you would hold your progression rolls until I move the monsters, because you may want to attack a different monster depending on where they are. And that's something we always got to do, is let the moves happen first before we start making progression rolls. Dorn already made a roll there, doesn't have an opportunity. So you wouldn't really want to do that, because now the goblin is certainly not concerned about moving forward because there is no attack opportunity. And the other two are moving. These are staying engaged. But this monster, well, he'll stay there. So that is the first 5 feet. So you guys may now move if you wish. Now, even though they're engaged, they could choose to try to back away and move back. Could also mean turning your back, though, to the monster. So Dorn did choose to move and reposition.
We're good to roll progression now.
So if you guys are done moving, then everyone can roll progression.
Yay.
So the hobgoblin did not move up, so he squandered his attack. He's staying behind, as the brave leader would do. But you can see here we have several players ready to act. We have Abigail, who has reached an attack roll number, and Mara has reached an attack roll number. See, she got a 2. If she had not moved up last second, she would not be able to do that. So we'll start with Mara. You have only 1 within range, so you are attacking the orc grunt, it appears.
Yes.
So Mara will make her attack roll, and then she will designate the orc grunt as who will have to make the counter roll. You can see the D30 came up as a 4, which doesn't add anything, but wow, really good attack roll here. And then she will designate the orc grunt. In the dialog box, you can see down below here that where she picks. Now that brings that up, and again, you know, there's a lot of opposed combat games like Hackmaster where they do the opposed rolls, but the players just make random rolls, and then you have to sort of sort out after all the rolls are made who actually is opposing who. But we have it comparing it very directly here. So I'm rolling my defense. And there it is. The grunt's defense comes up with a 13. Now, interestingly, there is a D30 result here that allows the orc to kick, punch, or shield bash, regardless of the result of this. So they actually get a counter attack this second that is going to be a punch or a kick. Don't have a shield, but there is no bonus here for them. So the situation is Mara has hit. Now you can roll damage. And there's the damage. Not an incredibly good roll. She's got a 9. You can see all the modifiers are handled by the dice. She got a 9. The orc grunt has a 3 damage reduction, so that reduces it to 6. You can see on here the damage has already been inflicted and is removed from the token. Now, right now, because we're still resolving this one, the orc grunt gets to make a punch, kick, or knee attack, and are going to make that attack right now. They're going to try to punch at Mara. And you can see they got a punch attack of 18 and a D30 special of 28. Now that indicates shield destruction is possible. That's one of the things that can happen, but it requires you to, number one, hit a shield and to exceed its damage reduction value. Those things are not going to be possible because Mara is not employing a shield. But it is directed at Mara, so Mara will have to make a defense roll. And Mara's dice are on fire. It comes up as a match, but a match goes to the defense side. And so she's been able to avoid that. Somebody needs to check those dice. Seems like they're rolling awful good.
Yeah, they are.
So we have now resolved Mara's attack. We will move to Abigail. Abigail, you have an attack opportunity. And which
Okay,
one
so
are
I
you
roll?
attacking? You have two in range here. You could attack
Orcs.
soldier or the same
Ooh.
one that Mara hit.
I'll do the same one that Mara hit, the Orc Grunt.
Okay, so roll your attack, and then when it comes up with the dialogue,
Click on Orc
apparently
Grunt.
Abigail does not have the same dice that Mara has,
No.
but did get a pretty good roll on her modifiers. So you see the modifiers, even though she rolled a 2, the modifiers are already calculated in here, but they are not static. So she has an 8. Now, in most games, you would think, oh, an 8, there's no way I can hit. Well, let's see, because this is an opposed roll system, and it's very possible that even with an 8, she's going to hit. So designate the Orc Grunt as your target.
Orc
And
Grunt.
that brings up the dialogue box for me, as you can see, and I will roll my defense against Abigail's attack.
Uh-oh.
So now I've got a 14. Now, Abigail does have, since I prevailed, she does have the opportunity to add to her roll. Is that right? You have a dialogue box that has come up. So you could use grit to add to that, but it's early in the fight. You guys are not in trouble. Do you want to do it now, or are you going to hold your grit?
What do you guys think? Should I do it now?
Totally up to you.
You can use a grit. You can see what happens, and we can
I'm gonna
do
use it.
So she's going to use a grit roll. Now, what this does is it adds up to 1 to 6 to her number. Well, she unfortunately got a 1.
I only added 1.
And so that did not help. You still have the opportunity to roll again. Is that correct?
Yes, I do, but I don't think I want to spend another grit, so.
Okay. So her number did not go up enough. You can see here that 1 came out. It added a 9. It doesn't give you the extra point until you decide if you're going to roll another one. But she squandered a grit, which is tough because those are hard to earn. Get them as part of leveling and sometimes during combat. But she has squandered that one here. So that takes us through the attacks for this second. Remember, the Hobgoblin rolled to attack, but did not reach range. So we'll move on to second 4 here. And Xi'an is continuing to wait her casting time. That will be the first thing. And then you'll see all the monster dice coming up again. Ooh, the Orc Chief has an opportunity if he gets there. The Orc Grunt has an opportunity. Remember, the Orc Grunt is when the Orc Soldier gets an opportunity and the Goblin gets an opportunity. And only the Hobgoblin isn't having a chance here. So all 4 of the monsters just apparently overwhelmingly angry with these players and are able to attack. So the players will get to decide how to handle that. Goblin and the Orc Soldier here going to move closer to Dorn. The soldier's going to move up over here. We're going to have the Hobgoblin move here and the Orc Chief move up here for the first movement. Now the players get to react to these moves. with their 5 feet moves. Now, because they're in combat and they've been stopped, they can only do a walk or a jog again, can't accelerate to a run.
That's what we said.
I think I'm staying.
Okay, so you guys are going with that one. We are going to move up here with the goblin, who is jogging now and has not rolled an attack. And we are going to have the orc chief move up. Interesting thing, the players, like Dorn, could choose to move back away, face himself away from the orc soldier who may get an attack. The problem with that from the standpoint of the player is that will mean resetting progression and will not have the same number, and we'll have to restart at 1. So that is a decision that the player has to make if they're going to forego their earned progression, or if they are going to continue to stay engaged in a battle that allows them to continue moving toward an attack. So you guys can go ahead and move, and those are decisions you'll have to make.
I'm going to roll progression, which I do not.
But even though Dorn did not get that attack, and I'm moving these dialogue boxes out of the way, you can see that even though Dorn did not get to attack, his progression roll has now moved up to a 4. So next second, he'll need a 1 through a 4. Abigail got a 6. Her progression is a 2. Mara finally had her dice let her down and really rolled an 8. So now none of them are able to attack, and we will go through the monster's attack. And let's start with the orc grunt, who's over here and already been hurt. He has opportunity both on Mara and or Abigail. He's going to choose Mara here. So the orc grunt will make an attack roll. Ooh, has a 20, it appears on the D20. Now that is a potential vicious strike. And in this case actually is a vicious strike because she has rolled a 20. What that means is actually gets to add the entire amount of the D20 attack roll to the damage in this case. So this is quite a devastating attack upon Mara here, and she might need to get ready to spend some things because she has a 36 to hit her, and it is a vicious strike. So depending on what the damage would be here, she is facing 36 points of damage plus the damage roll. So very motivated to try to find a way to avoid this. So I've sent that defense request to you, Mara. You really need those dice to come through for you now.
No.
So you got a 16.
Uh-oh.
Need to look at rolling.
I think
You have
you
5
need to-
grit and 5 luck, right?
Yes.
It would take
So
what,
Five,
5 grit
five,
to make
you
one.
need to
roll?
find a way to beat 36, or you are realistically done. Well, you're going to have a hard time surviving this attack.
All right.
Nope.
Ooh.
Heck yeah.
All right, so you spend a luck, so you added 6, but that still only got you to a 22, 24,
Another luck.
27,
So,
29.
and then one more.
So you are up to 34. You can also start, or you've spent grit and luck. You combine them, so you're still not high enough.
I have to be over 36.
You got to tie it.
Just type it.
Okay, so as you can see here, the game brought a very vicious attack. Now, if she didn't have luck and grit to spend and to get to a 36, which would be in big trouble, and the amount of damage done by that vicious attack that came not only from the 20 on the attack dice, but it came from a 20 on the D30 Cinematic Results dice. So the ability to avoid that is because of Grit and Lick. Now, because she used luck, our warrior Mara has to explain to us what lucky event occurred that allowed you to avoid this vicious blow from the orc grunt. Do you have any ideas of what kind of lucky event would have happened that allowed that terrible blow to somehow miss you?
I see these tracks here from one of the wagons, and one of them right here, right by it, was really, really deep. And the hobgoblin just stepped right in it and completely missed his swing because he lost his balance.
You mean the orc grunt?
Okay, yes. Whoever attacked me. He stepped in here, the one to the left of him, and completely
He
missed.
lost his feet. He made a terribly great swing, but went right over the top of your head, taking off some hairs from the top of your head since it's a 36-36. But you did manage to avoid this. The problem for Mara moving forward is she has spent a great deal of her luck and grit. And if she faces a similar dilemma, won't have the ability to avoid that again. Now you accumulate those by levels, but using them, in the first few seconds of a fight is somewhat problematic. But we'll see if that comes back to haunt her later in this combat. But certainly it allowed her to avoid that. We'll move on to the goblin, who's going to take a shot at Dorn here. And the goblin comes up with a 8 to hit. Does get a bleed or knockback on a hit. So if is able to hit, that could certainly cause problems for our dwarf. So we're going to send the attack roll to Dorn's controller. Waiting for that response, and here it is. Oh, and good dice roll here. No attack bonus, so Dorn is able to parry that attack from our goblin. So then we will move on to the orc soldier. Orc soldier really only has one choice, and that is to also attack Dorn. So we'll make that attack roll. Ooh, not a good attack roll. Now you see again, 20 has come up. Which is interesting because even though the monster rolled a 1 and had got a 4 and that only has a 5, because they got a 20 on the cinematic results dice, they get to add, if needed, a D12 to their attack. So if it had been a 20-20, they had the whole thing like was in the last attack. But here, because they did not get a 20-20, they have a 1 and a 20. They still get to add a D12 to their attack roll if need be. So again, I'm sending the roll request to Dorn. And Dorn has not rolled as well this time. Has a 2. So right now, the monster doesn't need to add that D12. So is not going to do that.
I'm rolling my medium shield.
So has actually rolled high enough here to block with the shield. Now, the interesting part about that is that now that hit is still a hit, but the damage is reduced by both the armor and the shield value, and the shield value of a medium shield is 8. So when I roll damage, you can see here my total damage, even with the hit, is 12. Red Hammer's DR is 4 plus 8 because the shield managed to block, and there is no damage sustained by Dorn Redhammer, even though there was a hit. So we will move on and complete the attack for the Orc Chief. Now the Orc Chief has only one possible target, and that is Abigail. So we'll make that roll.
Okay.
Oh, I'm not doing bad tonight on my rolls at all.
Wow.
We have
A
220s.
47.
47 on the attack.
47 for the attack.
Oh no.
So we will
Uh-oh.
direct that at Abigail.
I'm rolling my defense, I guess. But
Well, you could explode
47?
too.
Yeah, you could roll a perfect defense.
Okay.
But as you
Whoa.
can see, the dynamics of that exploding dice really changes everything. She has a 15. I suppose
currently
she
have a
could start
15.
using luck and grit, but this is a standard hit. Are you going to use anything, or are you just going to take this hit?
I don't know if I can. I think I'm just gonna take this hit.
All right, you see here though that Abigail did roll a 15, which means she gets to counter with a kick, punch, or shield bash. So you're not going to add anything. So if you're not adding anything, make sure you click on that.
So press continue.
Yep. All right, so you can see that this is not a good combination. One of the things that Lethal Eddie was talking about is when we looked at that attack, it actually drew a bleed. Now, bleeds can be very dangerous in Lethal Fantasy because this wound has caused a bleed. We need to see how much damage it actually does. So it actually only did 3 points of damage. But what that's going to do is it does 3 points of damage. It does an additional 3 points of damage, and those damage come at 1 point per second over the next 3 seconds, which I will be reducing her hit points each second as we go through that. So she's taking a 3-point wound, but she's going to bleed for the next 3 seconds, 1 second, 1 point each second. Now she gets to try to punch back using a kick or punch. Now, if you open your character sheet, Abigail,
Okay.
by double clicking and you go to the combat part,
Combat.
you'll see
Okay, I'm
fist
here.
or elbow.
Mhm.
You click, you see the roll attack, which is the cross swords.
Yep.
You roll an attack.
Okay.
So click it to
Roll it?
roll your attack. Yep, roll it. So you have rolled an 11 to hit, and you direct it at him, which is the Orc
I can't
Chief.
see. Orc Chief?
Yep. Now he will roll his defense against your punch, and has a 13. So you were not able to punch him, but you took your shot at him. So you don't get to roll damage. Now that gets us through that second. As you can see, a whole lot of things happened there. Number one, the vicious attack that Mara was able to avoid. Abigail is now bleeding and will lose 3 additional hit points over the next few seconds. And we had Dorn use a shield. Now, the way the shield works is each shield is assigned a dice that is rolled. So if, for instance, Dorn has a medium shield, that is a D8. You can add up to 8 to your defense roll when they have hit you. However, it doesn't make it miss now. It only makes the shield come into play, so you block with your shield. The reason you wouldn't use a shield is because in Lethal Fantasy, when you're not using a shield, your defense rolls go up. Just like not wearing any armor makes your defense rolls go up, but your damage reduction goes down. So he, and we talked about it, if you look at Dorn's character sheet, and I'm going to bring it up here a little bit, because wearing padded armor, that's -3, has a skull cap, that's -1. Defense rolls are actually have a modifier of 0 to 1 negative. So that is a situation where Dorn is easier to hit but has all of those things, including that shield dice to raise up the DR, and it really paid off there because even though damage got through, none of it actually inflicted any wound on Dorn. So we're going to go ahead and move forward to second 5. First thing that we're going to see here before anything else happens is Xian has reached casting time on the acid lance. And so that is, you see down here, it is now cast the spell. So Xian is casting her spell, and as she's casting the spell, that gives her an attack opportunity. And the one thing about spells is because of the way they work, they're not looking for an opportunity. They get to attack after their waiting time. And you can see all of the dialogue boxes coming up. Only the goblin has earned an attack possibility this second. But before we do any movement, Xian is actually going to make the attack roll as the spell goes off. And make that attack roll. You can see the attack roll coming up here. She has a total of 15. She has modifiers as well on her attack casting roll. Got a D30 roll of 16, which doesn't do anything. But remember, in Lethal Fantasy, spells can do criticals, double damage, triple damage, all of the same kind of vicious attack that you previously saw. All of those things are possibilities for spellcasters, just like they are for melee. So she also now gets to see who she shot this at. Now I'm controlling her. She is a very smart individual, and she is going to decide that she wants to see if she can start damaging some of the bigger guys here, and so she's going to take a shot at the Orc Chief. You see, I now get a dialogue to roll a saving throw because I'm controlling the bad guys as well. Saving throw comes up. We had a little bit of a blip there in the screen. I don't know if anyone else saw that. But the combat system comes up with a hit that she actually did surpass his saving throw. Now, spells are very variable in damage, and we're actually putting together a system to allow that. But we also have this thing down here at the bottom that allows you to make any rolls. And she does 2d8 exploding dice on this attack. And the other interesting thing is her Aether that was used as part of this attack, and I'll show you that in a minute. But this icon over here allows you to designate whether an attack explodes or not. And here it does explode, 2 dice, d8, and we're going to click those. And for some reason our dice are blacked out, but the total roll here of damage is 11. There was a 6 and a 5 that came up, doing a total of 11 points of damage, and therefore we're going to apply that 11 points. Now, this spell attack is not subject to DR, so all 11 points of that will go against the Orc Chief. We click on them. You can see the icons come up here right from our token. They can deduct the broken heart. We'll look for 11, minus 11, click on it, and you can see it took the hit points down for the Orc Chief. So we are experiencing a bit of a technical difficulty here in that our dice rolls are not showing up on the screen because Foundry has done something. So I'm probably going to log out and log back in, and we'll pick up at the exact same place. The combat manager won't lose it. But before we do that and move to the next second, even though we won't see the dice roll, they'll still show in the chat. I'm going to have the goblin make an attack on our dwarf Dorn. That attack roll comes up. Can't see it from the blacked out dice, but you can see he has a total of 8, D30 of 24, which doesn't do anything. I'm also right now, while I remember, going to use that same thing to do the broken heart and take 1 hit point away from Abigail since she's bleeding. So I sent an attack dialogue to Dorn. Did you get that? So you have defended that attack. And yes, you can go ahead and roll your progression rolls.
I do not attack.
And I'll just ask the players, are you seeing the dice rolls or are they coming up blank?
They're coming up blank for me.
They're
Okay.
not coming up blank for me. I still see them.
I can attack though, so.
Okay, so we're going to let you go ahead and do your attack before. I mean, obviously we can still see the dice rolls over here. So
I
go
roll
ahead
my
and
attack.
make your attack. You only have one tar. You can attack either the Orc Grunt or the Orc Chief.
Okay. I'm gonna. It's the Orc Grunt.
Okay, and the Orc Grunt will roll a defense. Again, we can't see it. But the Orc Grunt has a 15, so you will have to choose if you're going to add anything to your attack.
I will spend a grit. I think I can get this because it's 4. So I'm gonna spend a grit. Okay, never mind then.
You're just going to waste. That'll be the second one you've just wasted unless you add another one.
Yep. Should I add another one then?
I would,
Yeah.
but that's up to you.
Okay.
All right, so
Nice.
now you rolled enough grit because you rolled a 4 on the second one to avoid or to gain that. So now you can roll your damage. Oh, wow.
Ooh.
So we can see here that, and you didn't get to see the dice rolls, but how this damage shows, you can see it up here. She rolled a 12, which exploded. She also rolled a 9. Her modifiers came up with a 6, so she did 28. And even with that, it did 25 points of damage to the Orc Chief. The Orc Chief, or no, actually, you did to the Orc Grunt, and that takes off his head and ends the game for him. So we will mark him as dead and defeated. So I'm going to pause for just a second, and we will pick this up in a second. I'm going to reboot Foundry so that we can show the dice on here. It's also not showing the health meters on the display. All right, so we're back from that hiatus. Sorry, the dice, for whatever reason, Foundry blanked in and blanked out, and we lost the visual on the dice. But we are back. Nothing has been lost. We just completed all the rolls for second 5. Xian had cast a spell, did damage on the Orc Chief, but then Abigail went all hog wild and just wiped out the Orc Grunt. So now we're moving on to second 6. So after 5 seconds, the players have actually already killed one of the bad guys. Mara has narrowly escaped a death encounter that she will not soon forget. But we'll move on to second 6. First thing you're going to see pop up over here is Xian is now in lethargy rolls. Now, lethargy replace what fighters do to try to find an attack opportunity. A magic user has to try to recover from the lethargy of summoning ether from the world around them, and so they have a bit of a time where they're unable to start casting again. They can attack, they can defend, and they can walk, but they're very limited on what they can actually do. And that is just a balancing tool between the melee and the magic user. So she rolls her lethargy dice. Just like a fighter, you can see she needs to roll on a d6, a 1 to recover. So she could recover right away, but here she doesn't. She rolls a 6, so she is still suffering lethargy. So we are now talking about movement. The monsters will move first. The um, goblin and orc soldier are gonna move to bracket Dorn. The orc chief will actually move forward up here, and the hobgoblin is going to try to move in between as well. So now the players can move. I'm going to have Xian back up one because she is suffering from lethargy, not very good at defending. You can see Dorn moved away. Now this doesn't mean he turned his back necessarily. He can easily back away. So there's a difference there. That's why you can see Lethal Eddie changing facing. Just like here, I'm sure Mara is going to change facing even though they move, but we are not limiting them on their movement each second as we move through this. Abigail, are you going to move at all, or are you happy just staying there and whacking on those two?
I'll stay here whack on these two.
Okay, so now they get to move the second half of their movement if they're choosing to. And we're gonna the goblin is gonna move up over here. Not you may wonder why. To have its eye on this caster back here, so it's moving around this, and the others are gonna stay put. So that is where the monsters are. You now can move, stay put, or do your second part of the move.
So in other words, roll progression
Or you could
move.
choose to move away, but then again, you would lose your progression roll.
Yeah. Now I could just make an adjustment once again, like
You could,
diagonally, and
and then you would have
but
more attack opportunities as well.
yeah, I think. But I am opening up Xi'an, so I'm going to stay where I'm at for protection of the magic user.
So one of the things you see, all those progression dice did get rolled for the monsters, and none of them were able to attack. So none of them have an opportunity. And Dorn is not having the best of luck.
No.
But now has reached a progression count of 6. So next second we'll need a 1 through 6 on that D8. So odds are very much with him that he is going to find that attack. And knowing those odds can certainly make decisions about where they're moving. The other players also made rolls, but none of them were able to attack. So we will be progressing to second 7. And you see the dice rolls coming in for the monsters. So again, me as a game master, and I'm able to narrate this, and if it was a real combat as far as role playing, I'd be adding probably a lot more to it, but we're trying to narrate here what's going on in combat. But one of the things you see, Shiana's rolling her lethargy dice again, rolled another 6, so continues to be affected by that lethargy. Is still limited to a walk, cannot begin casting another spell, and cannot make attacks. The monsters, once again, do not find an attack opportunity with all of those dice rolls. Now, you saw a minute ago, all of them, with the exception of one of them, rolled an opportunity, but now none of them did, which is the unpredictability of the progression system. We've seen, and you saw in the demo last time, consecutive ones to allow an attack. Well, here we've seen Dorn not find that opportunity, but still be very much involved in the combat, moving around, positioning, and now knowing those odds for the next second can make some decisions based on that. So no one has an attack opportunity, and I think we're moving forward to second 8. So we move forward to second 8. Again, Shiana's trying to recover from that lethargy. We do have the old soldier coming up with an attack and the goblin. So I'll roll the lethargy roll of 4. Still not able to recover And Xi'an is up here. She next second will need a 1 through 4. She's having about the same luck as Dorn. Now I do have both the Orc Soldier and the Goblin will have an opportunity if they are in range.
And so does Dorn.
Okay, they are not moving, with the exception of the Goblin who's disengaged. And you guys may have wanted to make a decision about that. But
Oh,
you've
no.
rolled progression. Xi'an
Uh-oh.
is seeing this goblin come at her and is moving away, but the goblin is closing. But you guys have chosen to make progression rolls, so you are up here and
I am stuck.
engaged. So we will. None of you rolled to allow an attack. Is that correct?
Yeah.
No.
What did you roll, Dorn? No,
I
you
rolled
can
a 1,
attack.
so I can
So
actually attack.
So Dorn will be the first to go because his dexterity is higher than either the Orc Soldier or the Goblin. So Dorn gets to make an attack roll. Really is only engaged with the Orc Soldier.
Mm-hmm.
So you can see here as a total attack of a 20.
So Orc Soldier.
So I will roll my defense based upon that. You can see, oh,
You got a
so
mulligan.
here it has come up, and that 8 came up, and you can see here in the dialogue box, which my players can't see, but all of you at home can see this. I have rolled a 6, and he has got a 20. So obviously my 6 is not good enough, but you can see here the D30 special result, an 8 allows a mulligan, so I get to re-roll my defense. So I re-roll my defense, and I now have rolled a 12. So the fact that Dorn has a 20 still leaves me getting hit, and so the fact that
So now I'll roll damage.
so now we have a damage roll. Ooh, and a total of 13. We do have a DR of 4 for the soldier, so that gets through to a total hit of 9. You can see again already reduced from the Orc soldier. So he has taken that damage. And now we turn to the monsters. The goblin has an attack opportunity, but is not within range, although is approaching Xi'an with a bloodthirsty look and wishes he was within range. But we do have the Orc soldier, and since was just struck by Dorn, the attack will go at Dorn. And we will roll that attack. We have a 29. Would gain a grit if he was a player. Monsters do not get the benefit of grit. Only players get grit, but he has a total attack of a 10. That will be directed toward Dorn. Not exactly the attack to end all
Not
attacks.
great. So I will go ahead and use my shield to see if that can make up the difference.
Oh, very good roll there.
Still not quite enough. So I could one luck. And I think that's enough to get us to an even number. So as he was swinging, the goblin was kind of walking over those boards and tripped a little bit. This little splinter just kind of flipped off, and as he was so like excited about going after Xi'an, and it just flipped up, and just at the last second, that Orc soldier just had to move his head aside to avoid this little splinter from hitting him in the face, and managed to just slightly go cross-eyed for a second. Couldn't quite hit Dorn, but he still hit his shield.
He did hit his shield, so he will get to roll damage. But you will be able to deduct both of those. It does
looks like a
explode.
little bit might have gotten through.
So it does a total of 14. You are able to apply both of your damage reduction, so you have a total of 12.
So I take 2 points of damage then.
Damage to Dorn because, and you see when you're taking damage, it allows you to choose because of this very situation, no DR with armor, with armor and shield. And so here we're applying the armor and shield. All of that defense that Dorn has is really paid off for him. So the shield was able to block the damage because of the DR that it did. The damage reduction that exists to take that down. Look to the next second, unless there was anyone else that was able to go.
Nope.
So we're now moving on to second 8. You can see the monster rolls coming up again. We have a lethargy dice being rolled. And unfortunately, Xian rolls a 6 and is still not recovered and can still only walk. So,
And I am going to actually, this is a good opportunity for me to disengage. And so I'm waiting for the monsters to move, but I'm planning to try to intercept this
monster
goblin.
is going here. The orc soldier is here to bracket. The orc chief will move up. And the hobgoblin is going to stay put, eyeing both Mara and Abigail. So then the players can move. Xian is moving here to try to get away from this goblin.
Okay.
Could I move?
You can. So you move up 1. Is Mara moving?
No, I'm going to stay.
Okay, so then they will move again. The goblin is going to move here. The orc soldier is going to move here. The orc chief is going to stay put on Abigail. So, and as
I'm
will
going to move.
hobgoblin.
I'm going to move back another 5 feet here.
And who
Once
are you
again,
facing?
still, I'm going to face diagonally that way so that I kind of have them between me.
Fair. So I don't think either of them has the advantage of being behind you based on this current situation. But again, is the dynamic of being able to move and adjust as things happen in real time. So anyone who's able can now, we're done moving, so you can roll any progression rolls.
And I do not get to attack this second.
Me neither.
I am.
Oh, Mara does get that chance to attack. It's a 5, and you have really only one in your sights, and that is the evil hobgoblin down here.
Attack.
So you have a 21, 16 on the D30. That's not doing anything for you. Do need to backtrack just a little bit because of that last second. I forgot to remove that 1 hit point from Abigail for her bleed.
Ooh.
So she has lost a point there. I do see the defense come up, so I got to try to beat that 21 with my hobgoblin. And I have an 11 and a 13 on the D30, not at anything. I have a total of 12, so that isn't going to get it done. So you hit the hobgoblin, Mara.
Damage.
Wow. So you did a total of 20. There is some DR there, so you did a 16-point wound. You can see you took him down a fair amount, nearly half. So that was a solid hit. Anyone else this second? But you can see how fast the opposed rolls actually resolve. Now, so occasionally there's counterattacks and things like that, but still we're moving through fairly quickly. We're going to move on to second 10. Now, Xi'an really needs this lethargy dice to come through for her. The Hobgoblin is the only monster that is able to attack. We're going to make that lethargy roll. Now gets a 3, so she has recovered. And she can potentially start using her Mystical War Mage weapon. And we'll talk about that in just a second, because first we got to move before she makes the decision about what she's going to do. So the monster, this goblin, not knowing that Xi'an has recovered, is going to a little weary about the dwarf, so gonna make this move up here, trying to get to Xi'an. The orc soldier, trying to make things tough on Dorn, moving over here and also getting close to the magic user. The orc chief and the hobgoblin are happy with where they are, attacking Abigail and Mara. So they are not going to move. So you guys can move as you wish.
All right. I'm gonna move down one.
Are you going to try to attack the hobgoblin, Abigail?
Yeah, we're gonna double team.
Oh, okay.
All right, so Xi'an, even though she's recovered, is really not wanting to get involved in a hand-to-hand fight. Not really her best, although she we'll talk a little bit more about what she can do here, but she's gonna move back this second. Now we're talking about the monsters, and this orc soldier is going to turn toward Dorn instead of moving, and the goblin is gonna move up over here, and face Xi'an, looking to attack. Now Xi'an still has an opportunity to move, so could move away and keep the goblin at distance. But what are the other players going to do here? The orc chief is going to move in and re-engage with down here. So that is the movements for the bad guys. Players going to have any reactions to these moves?
I'm going to wait to react to Xi'an.
I'm going to stay.
Well, now we're going to talk about what Xi'an actually can do. Now, Magic users in Lethal Fantasy have some things that I don't think other games have. One of the things that all Magic users get to choose is one of three things. They can choose to have an innate bolt attack, like a magic missile, if you will, that they can have, or they can have a magical shield that automatically deflects or absorbs some damage that they get. Or, in this case, Xi'an has a Mystical War Mage weapon. This is designed by the player of their own choice, and Xi'an's weapon is something sort of like a lightsaber that she can summon and begin using as a weapon. And she is going to do just that, and is a seasoned adventurer, and she's going to decide to start her progression rolls with her Mystical War Mage weapon, and she will select that action, and she will begin and make a progression roll. Now, she doesn't get to attack. Her next second will go up because her weapon works just like the other weapons. So she doesn't get to attack. Now, you guys can make the second half of your moves if you wish.
Seeing what the goblin did and seeing that she has now got a weapon out and protecting herself, I'm going to turn on the orc soldier.
You want the other two moving, or are you just going to make your progression rolls?
Just
I'm
going
gonna
to
make my
make
progression.
So you can see neither of them were able to hit it. Now, Mara rolled pretty well, but since she had just gone, she didn't get it. Now, we do have.
I do get an attack.
But Dorn gets a 1. As you know, we keep saying, you're never out of the fight. And you roll a 1 no matter how long it's been, you get to make that attack. So here, again, you can see not the best attack. Got a 10. Didn't do well on the runes, but as directed at the Oak Soldier. Now a 10, you don't know because we're not talking about a static number. If you had a static number, the players on the table at this point would know what that static number is and would already be hanging their head if they rolled a 10. But that isn't the way Lethal Fantasy works. And here, as we just discussed, the Orc Soldier rolled a 5 and did not gain anything from their modifier on defense. So this is a hit, even though it was a 10. Now, we've seen, incredibly high numbers. I think we had a 47. But that doesn't mean you can't be successful with lower numbers, and that is exactly what keeps everyone engaged at the table. Anyway, Dorn has hit, so now gets to direct that damage at the monster here. Oh, and explodes. So the Dorn has done 15 damage. Raw, there is some DR, so did an 11-point wound. Again, already reduced. This, you can see this Orc Soldier is now under half, and obviously a Game Master may decide whether or not to show these bars. I think using Foundry, it's a great way for them to be able to measure without seeing actual hit points that something is wounded or damaged, so they can see sort of the kind of decisions to make, because I think that is not metagaming. That is just part of what you see from the damage you've inflicted. In any event, that leaves the attack from the Hobgoblin. Now the Hobgoblin is down here and could attack either Abigail or Mara. Now one of the things I'm going to do right up front is I'm going to go ahead and finish off that damage that Abigail's been suffering, and take that 1 more point away from her as she bleeds. And then we're going to have, I guess they're a little frustrated with Mara because she just keeps avoiding things. So they're going to take a shot at Mara. Roll an attack here. Not a great attack. Got a total of 6. So with the dice rolls I've seen from Mara so far, I'm assuming that probably won't hit, but we never know. Jeez. So Mara has rolled a 20 again and exploded. And she will get an attack here because once again, you see she's rolled a 10 on her D30, which allows a kick, punch, or a shield bash. So there's no attack bonus from our Hobgoblin. But now, Mara, you get to make an attack roll. So you open up your character sheet by double clicking on it.
all right.
And you go to combat, and do you see fist or elbow, kick or knee? You can decide if you're going to try to punch them, elbow them, kick them, or knee them. And then you, whichever one you choose, you click on the cross swords to make that attack.
All right. I see it.
So she chose a kick or a knee and has rolled a 16, and direct that at your target.
We're gonna
So he rolls a defense for the hobgoblin against the. Oh, but the hobgoblin is able to knock away the kick. So the kick didn't do anything. Now, those kind of kicks are not high damage. Do 1 to 4 plus any kind of modifiers from strength or other attributes. But could do something, could get through, do a little wound, but here again that was turned away. So that is the end of that. Does anyone else have any attacks outstanding? I don't believe we do, so we'll be going to second 11. You can see again the dice coming up for the monsters. Not looking great for them so far. That's an 11, 2 11s out there. So none of the monsters gained an opportunity. I mean, that is the unpredictability of lethal fantasy and the unknown of whether you're going to face all of them attacking, some of them, or none of them. So now we're going to go to movement. The goblin is going to continue to move. I don't think he wants to deal with the dwarf. He'd really like to just fight this magic user. So Goblin's kind of hiding behind. Xian with a determined look in her eyes, planning to take care of this goblin. Orc soldiers staying put, as are the other combatants, so that would be the only move, and the players can move.
I will be staying.
I will also stay still.
It's like Dorn sort of going back to back with the mage up there. None of them are able to attack, so they are not going to make any further movements, and Shiana's not planning to move, so she is going to make a progression roll. Do you guys want to make any further movements?
I'm going to just make my progression roll, which I am not able to attack this second.
Xian is making a progression roll. She does not gain the chance to attack, but again, it escalates and goes up. Abigail has got that big D11, but you've seen the kind of damage she can do when she actually gets through and attacks. No one is able to attack. Abigail has stopped bleeding, so we're not progressing that anymore. So now we go to the next second. Again, monster attacks flying through, not doing well. Just not finding that opening. So again, the apprehension of whether they can attack is there, but again, none of them attacked. As far as movement, none of them are unhappy with their placement, and they're going to stay in these positions for this time. Do any of the players wish to make a move?
Oh, I'm going to roll progression.
Me too.
And I am not attacking again.
As will
this second.
Xian is rolling progression as the dice go in. Now
Ooh,
you can
I'm
see
so
rolled
lucky.
Xian actually rolled so she can attack with her magical sort of. You can look at her, and I'll post this when we're up there, but she actually has a sort of a powered weapon. Looks kind of like a lightsaber, which is the kind of weapon that can be summoned by this. But she's going to make her attack roll. Unfortunately, not a very good attack roll. But she has a 5. Could inflict a bleed on this if, in fact, she was to get through. She's attacking a goblin. Because this is all me, I make the goblin's defense roll. And the defense roll is a 13. Will be an unsuccessful attack. And Xian is very frustrated, but does not get through the defenses there. So we will progress again. Moving on to second 13. We're seeing the monsters come up. Boy, they're due for some luck, but so far it's not coming through for them. Another one is not coming through. Oh, a 12. Really can't find that opportunity. So the monsters, all 4 of the remaining ones, just cannot seem to find a crack in the defense of our adventurers. So now we're looking at movement. The orc soldier is going to move up one, but the others will stay put. The goblin likes where he's at because he's got somebody between him and the scary-looking red dwarf. So Dorn is going to move down.
I will be staying.
Anyone else moving? So the
Nope.
probably what Dorn was trying to do is get this monster to turn, which he is successful in doing, and is now face to face with the dwarf and not facing Xian. Now Xian is behind him, and she could decide on her next attack if she gained one to try to attack from behind on the orc soldier. Now she's gonna start rolling progression again. That's her decision. So she's rolling progression. Got a 6. She doesn't get to attack.
Neither do I.
Oh, but
I get to
Abigail with that
attack.
big blade gets to attack. And where is that attack going to be directed? Are we going Hobgoblin or Orc Chief?
Ooh,
I
well,
think
you got an
I'm gonna
11
get the
on the D30.
Oh, and that's something we need to
Hobgoblin.
talk about too. You've gotten a flurry attack. And that comes into
Ooh.
play whether you hit or miss. And we'll talk about what that is. But first, we'll resolve this attack.
Okay.
So a 13. So who you hitting? So you're going
Hobgoblin.
after the Hobgoblin. The Hobgoblin will roll their defense. And they've got a 15. Now, you could use grit here to try to get through on that.
Gonna use my grit.
Okay, so you got a 1. Do you have any more grit?
I have 1 left.
I would suggest using it since you already burned through it. Otherwise, you're done.
Can I use it?
So you got
Oh
a
yeah.
5. So
19.
you get through. Now you get to roll damage. You do want to notice that the Hobgoblin gets a kick, punch, or shield bash back at you based upon the roll. They got of a 10 on the D30. But you've got a flurry, so you get to hit.
Okay. Rolling my damage.
So you're pretty solid there. You got a 10 through. You can see you took him down. Now, you get to resolve all of your attacks prior to his counter, which is that punch or kick. And on a flurry, because you rolled an 11, you get an immediate another attack. So you got to go into your combat again. Remember when you did the kick?
Okay.
You go back into there, but now you're using your actual attack. So you're using your sword again. So you would click
Rolling my
on,
attack.
you would roll an attack using your weapon under combat, using your full greatsword, and you roll another attack because you're a flurry. Now hold on, before you do it. Well,
Oh,
doesn't
I'm
matter.
sorry.
That's all right. We
Yeah.
can still do it. But one of the things that happens with this is you don't have to attack the same person. You're engaged on 2. You could make your flurry go, I hit the Hobgoblin and I'm going to spin and I'm going to hit the Orc Chief. You don't have to do that, and you may want to just see if you can finish off the Hobgoblin so he doesn't get to punch you back. But you could change it. So who do you want to use your flurry against?
I want to try to finish off the Hobgoblin.
Okay. So one other thing to note, we're going to do this in a minute. You've directed me. You've rolled a 29 on this attack. That means you gain a grit during the middle of combat. So you should go into your character sheet and you should add 1 grit back
Okay.
on your character sheet.
Is it under skills or combat?
I'll actually do it for you, and I'm going to open up for everyone here at home. You can see it here. Here's the grit. You can see she's burned them all. We'll open it up for editing, and we'll add 1 back. So she now has a grit that she just earned in the middle of combat. So she now has 1 more grit to spend because she gained that as a part of that. Now I'm going to go ahead and roll my defense. I have a 19 here.
Ooh.
And I also get triple DR, including the shield, because I rolled a 3. Now, a 3 you wouldn't think is a good roll, but on the D30, a 3 for defense triples your damage reduction. A 2 doubles it. Now, if you get a 2 or a 3 attacking, you double or triple your damage. So those are things that the D30 does that are in addition to criticals and the vicious hit that you've already seen potentially come up. So the D30 can do a lot of different things. So you have a grit, but a grit would only get you up to 6. That isn't going to get you there. So unfortunately, you got that second attack, but you did not hit. Now the monster,
Okay.
the hobgoblin, is going to try to kick you and
Okay.
is going to roll that kick attack. And you can see a pretty good kick attack. A 17 directed at Abigail.
Roll my defense.
Correct.
Oh no.
So you got hit, but you're only dealing with the damage 1d4. So he's going to
Okay.
hit you. He rolls his d4 damage. I actually
6.
rolled that incorrectly because it came up as 2d8. That's my error. I clicked on the wrong part. So I'm going to re-roll that down here as a d4 that doesn't explode. It's 3. Your DR exceeds that, so it will not inflict any damage.
Not here.
So we're moving on to second 13. You can see again the rolls for the monsters, and they're struggling. They're just not finding openings in a lot. But we do have one, the hobgoblin again. So even though the other ones have had fewer attacks, this hobgoblin's dice keep giving him opportunities. So movement here, the goblin is comfortable, as are the others. So we're not going to get any movement from the bad guys here. Dorn repositions.
I will be staying.
So
I'm
everybody
also
is
gonna stay.
staying. So if no one else is
I will
moving, we can
progress.
go ahead and roll progression. Shion is going to roll progression.
I get to attack.
So Dorn's rolled a 3, gets to attack. Abigail rolled a 9. Mara got an 8. Not having the attack rolls have been great. The progression rolls for Mara have not been great. So the hobgoblin has an attack opportunity, and Dorn has an attack opportunity. Ooh, a 22. So I will roll defense. Now the Orc Shoulder has a 20, but does have a mulligan, and the 20 isn't good enough, so we'll re-roll defense. And re-rolls a 6, so actually got far worse. But that's the choice you get with a mulligan, but it was a hit anyway, so that results in a hit for Dorn, and gets to apply damage. Ooh, pretty good hit there. Damage done 12. You can see the Orc Soldier not looking so good. We just got a little sliver of health going on over here. That was a rather vicious blow from the red-bearded dwarf.
Finish him, shit.
That does leave us with the hobgoblin's attack. Now the hobgoblin is going to try to hit Abigail this time.
Ooh.
That sword's scaring him a little bit, so gonna make an attack roll there. Got a 1 and a 3. So that's not exactly ideal for the hobgoblin, but gonna take a shot at Abigail. Maybe a 3 can come through. I don't think it's going to work, especially since you rolled a 20. So now you
got
can
a
see we've
30.
got a defense of 30 compared to a 3 attack. So that isn't going to work. So the Hobgoblin missed rather badly there. Good roll, Abigail. So we will progress on to second 15. Oh, we do a little better. Orc Chief is coming through on this one. So I got Hobgoblin again, and you can see the Hobgoblin just went last second, but guess what? Those dice give it, and oh, the Goblin got in there. So 3 bad guys. 3 bad guys are going to get to go this second. So that is concerning for the good guys. Are they going to move? I don't think they are. I think they're happy where they are and don't plan to move. Of course, they could still react if the players do.
Can we flank Xi'an?
I will be
Let's
safe.
force some movement. I move here.
So, not going to move, but is going to turn facing to
Which gives
turn you, which gives Shiana back attack still. But you remember the Goblin has an attack on Xian. So,
true.
So anyone else making any other movements, or should we go to progression?
Go to progression.
All right. Xian is going to roll to see if she can get through. Xian does get an attack. Dorn rolls a 1. Gets an attack.
Yay, I get
Mara
to
gets
attack.
an attack.
I don't get
Abigail
it.
does not get to attack. That big blade takes a little longer sometimes, but it could get the 1. So Dorn has rolled an attack. Okay, and Mars rolled an attack. We got 2 attacks pending out here. So well, I guess we'll resolve Mara's first because I've already got a defense roll up. So Mara's attack will come against. So you can see here, Mara rolled a 7. Hobgoblin has an 8. That isn't going to get it done. So that is a hit. So Mara can go ahead and roll damage. 3 only did 3 there, was not her best attack. You can see she only got a 1 on her modifiers for damage out of the possible 6 that she has. So that did not, and she only got 2 3s, but still did 3 points of damage, knocking him down somewhat. Now I'm defending against Dorn Redhammer's attack on the Orc Soldier, who is not doing well. So Dorn has a 22, the Orc Soldier has a 13. That isn't going to get it done for him. No defense. So damage, and it's not looking good for the Orc Soldier at the moment. Ooh, you're really not looking good at all. That's pretty bad. And another one,
wow.
and another one.
Oh,
And another
You
one.
see, and another one.
Another one.
And they just keep coming. The hits just keep rolling in to where a normal attack with 2d8 dice has just inflicted 45 points of damage upon the Orc Soldier, who had like 3 at the time. With DR, that is a 41-point hit. Exploding dice make this game very dangerous, and that is not a critical, not anything on the D30, but guess what? That is absolutely the end of the Orc Soldier. So we will remove the Orc Soldier from the combat tracker as dead. So you can see that marking him here dead. We also still have Xian outstanding and is going to make her attack against the goblin. So I'm rolling that attack. She's done much better this time. She has rolled an attack roll of 20 and is making that against the goblin. Against I get the dialogue roll. Monster defense comes up here. We make the roll. And the goblin has an 11. That isn't going to get it done. So Xian has landed an attack and can do damage. Now, these blades escalate in damage as they level up, as magic users level up. So are not as effective as melee weapons always, but hard to say what she's going to do. She explodes her attack as well and manages to deal 5 damage upon the goblin. So we'll take a look at that. You can see took the goblin down a fair chunk. One of the things that I would tell you is I have a lot of dialogue boxes coming up here, and this is a little more clogged because I'm having to use a smaller view of combat to show you guys what's going on and to show the 2 screens. Much easier to keep this organized when I'm running it just as the game master and not as a player and the game master, but I want to be able to show you what's actually going on. So now we're going to move on to the monster's attack. We'll start with the goblin on Xian. That roll goes as a unfortunately the goblin got a 30 and a total attack of a 9. So that will be directed at Xian. And when I say 30, that's the special results dice. So she is rolling her defense. Now, Xian's defense is very good. And why is that? Because she is not wearing a shield nor armor. So her modifiers to defense are extreme. But she's come up with a 17. She has a 9. Now, the monster gets to add a bonus dice because of rolling the D30. So gets to add a D20 that it can potentially explode to her attack number. You can see it only came up a 7. So even with that additional number is not good enough, but almost 16 versus 17. But even with the 30, it did not get there. Now you can see the 30 on the D30 actually gave her, the monster, a real chance. And that D30 is sort of that unknown thing hanging out there that you never know what it's going to do. So we'll move on to the Orc Chief. The Orc Chief hasn't been real active, hasn't rolled well, but has a chance to attack Abigail. And because Abigail's facing this way, the Orc Chief is behind Abigail and gets to attack, not with favor, but Abigail will be defending with disfavor. Now, favor and disfavor are something we refer to, but they're also advantage or disadvantage you see in other games. But the Orc Chief is going to make an attack roll here. And that is a 19 total. Would gain 1 grit, but again, they don't get that defense. Now, Abigail is sent the defense. Now, Abigail, when you roll your defense, you have to click on that part below that says favor and disfavor, and you have to put disfavor, which means you're going to be rolling 2 defense rolls and taking the lower number, and you got to defend against the 19.
With disfavor.
Correct.
Okay.
So you see 2 20s there. Well, they're both 1s.
Wow.
So it didn't really matter which one you rolled. You have a 1. And you can see as it marks this as disfavor. That's really bad to roll 2 1s. Sorry, that's the same odds as rolling, a 20-20, which we saw earlier, only it's not nearly as good.
Snake eyes, I guess.
In any event, you've been hit, obviously, because of that. So you got to put, I don't think you have anything to do. So you go through. So now I'm going to roll damage. Um, with the jagged scimitar, and you have a total of 10, but you have 4 DR, so it's still just a 6-point wound, but Abigail has been injured. You can see her points went down. Now we also have the Hobgoblin. Um, the Hobgoblin has got his back to Mara, but is gonna attack Abigail. They're trying to take down that half orc.
Oh no.
Not as good of an attack, a 6, and Abigail's not at disfavor here. I think she could see
Okay.
that, so gets to roll normal defense. So it comes up with a 14 and parries that
Nice.
attack. I believe that in second 15, and we will move on to second 16. See, and again, the monsters rolls come up. Warnings telling the GM that there's only 3 on the table now. The Hobgoblin, once again, is able to attack and has rolled just incredibly well for opportunities. I think attacking several times in a row now. So we have the monster. As far as movement, none of the monsters are moving at this point. So Dorn is moving down. Anyone else going to move?
I will not be moving.
Nope.
All right,
Staying still.
they're not moving. Are you guys happy with this? They continue to not move. So are you going to continue, or are you just going to roll progression at this point?
Roll progression.
Yep.
So we're rolling our progression checks. And I'll roll for Xian. Now, Abigail, I see, has gotten a 3 and is ready to whack again. Xian got a 7, doesn't get it. Mara's got a 6, just attacked. So only Abigail has it, and the
Okay,
Hobgoblin.
So who's gonna go first? Me or the
One
Hobgoblin?
of the things is, and I'll just say this to you, Abigail, you didn't change your facing, so you still have that Orc Chief at your back. But fortunately, the Orc Chief didn't find an opportunity, and you still are moving and able to defend. You just place yourself at a disadvantage if they find an opportunity. But you have a chance to attack. Who are you going to attack? You can still spin and attack the Orc Chief. But it's up to you. You can try to finish off this Hobgoblin who just keeps finding ways to attack every second.
I'm going to attack the Hobgoblin.
Possible triple damage.
Oh, then we got a 3 here. So this is a triple damage threat if you get a hit. And you have a 19, so that's a pretty good chance. But not for sure, as we've seen. Things can explode. Oh, not the best roll for our Hobgoblin. Has no ability, so he is hit. And this is a triple damage. I don't know if you'll need triple damage. And the triple damage goes to the entire roll.
Yeah, 66 points of damage.
Yeah, that would be 66. Fortunately, or unfortunately, the untripled damage of 22 killed the Hobgoblin. So do not need that, but just for the record, that is 66 points of damage. So we would have to, in this case, take off 44 more. So that is a bit of a good hit there. And the Hobgoblin does not get to make that attack, obviously, because he's dead. So we will now mark off the Hobgoblin as deceased. And you guys are doing quite well. Taking out these monsters. So that's second 16. We'll move on to second 17. We're down to 2 monsters rolling. Neither one of them gets an opportunity now. The Goblin,
Oh.
he might want to run, but he's not going to run for purposes of the demo, so he'll stay put. I think if I was running this, I would probably have the Goblin decide to run away. But he is not going to run, and the Orc Chief will move over here. Now you're behind the Orc Chief if and when you get an opportunity. And we have Dorn coming down. So is everyone rolling progression at this point?
Yes.
If they're done moving, then I will.
They're done moving.
Yes.
Mara gets to go. I believe only Mara has an opportunity here.
Mhm.
Oh, that's not the best roll. And possible shield destruction, but again, we don't have a shield being wielded. Full defense. Oh, a very good defense. So unfortunately, and I don't think you have enough points to spend because you avoided that vicious attack early on.
Yeah.
That is not going to get through. Anyone else at this second?
Nope.
So we're moving on to second 18. The monsters not looking too good. Nope, neither of them are able to get through. Can't find that opportunity. The monster is going to turn completely to face the dwarf and the half-orc. The goblin will remain put, so that is the movement for the bad guys.
And I get to attack.
Xian does not find an attack opportunity.
Ooh, flash of pain. We haven't seen that one today.
So if your attack gets through and you've got a 7, you would inflict a flash of pain that would make the monster unable to attack and would defend with disfavor until the flash of pain subsides, and that's 1d6 seconds. You'll notice flash of pain is sort of similar to like Hackmaster has a mechanic where something is under a trauma, but in that it allows them just to automatically kill them. We don't have any sort of automatic kill just because somebody suffered some pain, but they are restricted as they try to sort of regroup from the amount of pain that they've suffered. So let's see if that's going to come into play. We only have a 7, and the Orc Chief has a 10 for defense. We've also suffered another flash, and the dice have gone out.
I used 2 grit, and
So
I'm now
has
I'm
added 2
hitting.
grit to make that a successful attack. So you
Now,
can.
which means that I roll damage, and then he gets to roll his flash of pain.
So damage dealt is 8. Still up. So now we will roll. You can roll for what the flash of pain is. Now down here at the bottom, you can see the dice tray that has the exploding dice. You need to click on the exploding dice and then click on the D6, and that'll give you an exploding D6 to tell you how long the flash of pain is.
Yeah, and then roll d6. Oh, and I exploded.
So 9. So for the next 9 seconds, which is unusual because it's a D6, but this monster, the Orc Chief, is under a flash of pain that will make him be totally defensive. And now we've pretty much been through the way the combat works at this point. we've suffered another flash where the dice isn't working, which is something that Foundry is doing. And I don't know why it did that. But at this point, I think it's going to become academic that the three of you are going to hack this orc chief to death. And I think the goblin is going to make the best of it and run off. So we will end the combat here with a victory for the players. I think that D30 coming up with the flash of pain and that exploding 9 is going to make him defend with disfavor for the next 9 seconds, with 3 of you surrounding him, and a goblin up here who is not exactly the same combatant. And anyway, we've done a demo showing you exactly the way combat works. You've got to see how magic users cast spells, how that is opposed, how shields come into play, and how it can deflect a large amount of damage. We really appreciate everyone watching.
I think we got to see some great things. We got to see how lethal this game can be, and some of those damage hits could have come back at a player just as easily. We saw that actually in that initial crit that was rolled, and then of course the 45 points of damage there on the orc soldier, and one instance of 66 points of damage on a triple damage hit. So some pretty lethal hits, and so just really amazing. Thanks for joining us.
Right, and the crazy thing is, with the exception of the 2020 hit that was avoided by Mara, that is considered a critical on the D30, the rest of them are not necessarily critical hits. They're double damage, triple damage, but that D30 really brings a whole different aspect into what can happen. You can see all the counterattacks, the flurry attack that Abigail had, the counterattacks with the punches. A lot of different things come into play that can happen spontaneously in this game that I think is very different, and we're very proud of what we created. So keep watching. We're going to have more demos. We're going to talk about ranged attack in the next demo, showing you how ranged attacks come into play and how they're processed using this system. Again, thanks everyone for watching, and stay tuned. Box set is coming soon. We're in the final stages of that. Got the maps. Editing is in the very final stages, and we plan to be having that coming out very soon. So thanks again, and goodbye from Lethal Fantasy and the Lethal Dispatch.
Thank you for joining us for the Lethal Dispatch. We value your feedback and comments. Please like and subscribe to our channel so you don't miss updates on the Lethal Fantasy tabletop role-playing game. Join us on Facebook, Instagram, X, TikTok. Join our Discord channel to chat directly with Lethal Ted and Lethal Eddie and find out what comes next. Lethal Fantasy, the evolution of the tabletop experience.